The cereal?
Yeah.
That was my first introduction.
From the crowded streets of Guatemala City to the billion-dollar stages of Hollywood, this is the story of a man who was never meant to make it. Oscar Isaac wasn't born into fame, or privilege, or a family with connections. He came from a world where dreams felt almost impossible, a world shaped by migration, instability, and the silent pressure of being the outsider kid in every room he entered. But somehow, the boy who once struggled to find his place would grow into one of the most electrifying performers of his generation. A man capable of transforming into anyone, a doomed folk singer, a rebel pilot, a tormented genius, a masked vigilante, each role revealing a different layer of the mystery behind his rise. Yet behind the red carpets, the legendary roles, and the internet calling him the internet's favorite man, lies a much deeper question. How did Oscar Isaac, a restless kid who got expelled from high school, who battled identity, rejection, and years of being typecast, rise to become Hollywood's most versatile and magnetic star? This is the untold journey. The struggles he hid, the sudden fame he never asked for, the scandals and pressure that nearly broke him, and the transformation that turned him from a talented actor into a global cultural force. This is the rise of Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac was born Oscar Isaac Hernandez Estrada on March 9, 1979. In Guatemala City, a place filled with color, music, and unrest. His family lived through uncertainty, and when he was still a toddler, his parents made a decision that would shape the rest of his life. They moved to the United States, chasing safety and the faint promise of something better. They landed in Miami, vibrant, chaotic, alive, but far from easy. Oscar grew up in a working-class immigrant household where money was tight and identity was a constant battle. His father, a Cuban pulmonologist who had to rebuild his entire career from scratch, carried the pressure of providing. His mother, a gentle Guatemalan woman with a love for art, became the emotional anchor of the family. But young Oscar, he didn't fit in. He was the kid with the strange accent, the Latino face, the restless energy. He was bullied, misunderstood, and often felt invisible. Art became his escape. Music, theater, comedy, anything that let him become someone else for a moment. Then came the turning point. A streak of rebellion that got him expelled from school. Yet instead of breaking him, it lit a fire, the fire that would lead him straight toward the stage. And eventually, the world. Oscar Isaac didn't walk into Hollywood with a golden ticket. He walked in with nothing but raw talent, a relentless work ethic, and the stubborn belief that he could become more than the roles people expected a Latino actor to play in his late teens. He balanced odd jobs, stockroom work, restaurant shifts, playing in small bands, anything to survive. But every night, he returned to the same obsession: performing. Whether it was a community theater stage or a cramped rehearsal room, Oscar poured everything he had into becoming someone worth noticing. His life changed the day he auditioned for Juilliard, one of the most prestigious acting schools in the world. He entered the room as an unknown kid from Miami. He left as one of the rare few accepted that year. But even with elite training, Hollywood wasn't welcoming. Casting directors saw his Latino features and pushed him toward one-dimensional roles: gang members, troublemakers, nameless background characters. Oscar took the work, but refused to let it define him. Then came the crack in the wall. Roles in Robin Hood and Drive put him on the industry's radar. But the breakthrough, the moment critics stopped and truly looked, came in 2013, Inside Llewyn Davis, a film that proved Oscar Isaac wasn't just good, he was extraordinary. Inside, Llewyn Davis didn't just introduce Oscar Isaac to Hollywood, it detonated his career. Critics called his performance haunting, revolutionary, and a revelation. Suddenly, the industry's whispers turned into a shout. Who is this guy? And where has he been hiding? From that moment, Oscar Isaac entered a rare category of actors, the ones who could disappear into any role. In any genre, at any scale. He jumped from intimate, character-driven dramas to massive Hollywood franchises with unsettling ease. In Ex Machina, he was mesmerizing, part genius, part monster, a performance both chilling and hypnotic. Audiences couldn't look away. Directors couldn't stop calling. Then came Star Wars. As Poe Dameron, the charming, fearless pilot Oscar became an instant global icon. Billions watched him. Millions adored him. Overnight, he shifted from serious actor to A-list superstar, carrying the weight of one of the biggest franchises in film history. But he didn't stop there. He conquered television with Show Me a Hero, delivering an Emmy-worthy portrayal that critics hailed as career-defining. And he stormed back into pop culture with Moon Knight, proving once again that he could lead a franchise while still grounding it in raw, emotional truth. By the late 2010s and early 2020s, Oscar Isaac had become something Hollywood rarely sees: a chameleon with star power, a leading man with art house depth, a heartthrob with intellectual gravitas. Directors like the Coen brothers, Denis Villeneuve and Alex Garland praised his intuition, his emotional intelligence, and his ability to make even silence feel like drama. He was no longer the outsider kid from Miami, no longer the actor who fought for scraps. He was now one of the most respected, versatile, and magnetic performers working anywhere on the planet. For all his rising fame, Oscar Isaac's journey wasn't the smooth, glamorous ascent that Hollywood loves to advertise. Behind the camera, flashes and meme-worthy red carpet moments lay years of tension, pressure, and personal storms that few ever saw. As his popularity exploded, so did the scrutiny. There were headlines dissecting his private life, digging into his past relationships, and speculating about everything from hidden feuds to on-set clashes. Most of it was exaggerated, some of it invented, but Isaac quickly learned that fame didn't just open doors, it opened fire. One of the biggest media frenzies came from a single moment: the now infamous red carpet video where he gently kissed Jessica Chastain's arm during the premiere of Scenes from a Marriage. The clip went viral, spawning millions of views, conspiracy theories, and accusations. But for Isaac, it was a turning point, proof that even simple affection between close friends could become a worldwide spectacle. Behind the curtain, the pressure mounted. Carrying Star Wars brought massive expectations and waves of criticism he never asked for. He often spoke about feeling boxed in by studio decisions, storylines he couldn't control, and the weight of representing an entire franchise. And while Hollywood celebrated his versatility, it also demanded it relentlessly. Oscar faced burnout, questioning whether the industry valued him as an artist or merely as a shapeshifter capable of being plugged into any role. He also endured personal grief. The death of his mother in 2017 left a wound that reshaped him in ways fans would only understand years later. He stepped back from interviews, avoided publicity, and quietly wrestled with the darkness that fame could never cure. Oscar Isaac was at the top, but the climb had taken more from him than most people ever realized. Out of the pressure, the grief, and the exhaustion, Oscar Isaac emerged different. Not louder, not more dramatic, but sharper, more selective, more fearless, more honest about the artist he wanted to become. Instead of chasing another blockbuster, he took a step back and returned to where he felt most alive, acting that meant something. The result was Scenes from a Marriage, a raw, heartbreaking exploration of love and collapse. The series became a cultural earthquake, and critics praised Isaac for delivering one of the most emotionally devastating performances of the decade. It wasn't a comeback in the traditional Hollywood sense. It was a reinvention. Then came Dune, a role that reintroduced him to epic cinema. But on his own terms, elegant, controlled, powerful. He wasn't just a star in the frame. He was a presence, and with Moon Knight, Isaac blended everything he had learned: vulnerability, intensity, chaos, precision into a character that demanded the full range of his identity and craft. Off-screen, he began advocating for Latin American representation, supporting immigrant communities, and using his platform with quiet intention rather than spectacle. Oscar Isaac didn't simply return. He returned as the best version of himself, an artist defined not by fame, but by purpose. Today, Oscar Isaac stands as one of Hollywood's most respected and transformative performers, not because he followed the rules, but because he broke them with grace. He built a career without shortcuts, without relying on looks or fame, and without allowing the industry to reduce him to a stereotype. Instead, he expanded what a leading man could look like, sound like, and represent. He showed that a Latino actor could be a folk singer, a sci-fi hero, a tormented husband, a charismatic pilot, a king, a villain. A myth sometimes all in the same decade. For countless young artists, especially those from immigrant families, his journey is more than inspiring. It's a roadmap, proof that resilience can outrun rejection, that talent can defy expectation, and that identity, instead of being a barrier, can become a superpower. His legacy is not just the roles he played, but the boundaries he shattered, the characters he elevated, and the honesty he brought to every frame. The journey of Oscar Isaac proves that greatness doesn't come from where you start, but from how fiercely you fight to become who you're meant to be. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Stars and Scandals documentaries.